everyone. I'm Catherine Martin, founder of myQuietTime Ministries. Every day I have the privilege of meeting alone with the one who actually created me, who made the world. His name is Jesus, and He is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And this is myQuietTime. Have you ever had a year that just was the hardest time of your life? Well, I have. I know what it's like. And this year has been just such a time. One of the most difficult days was when I received the call that my mother had suffered a devastating stroke, and the Lord took her home a number of weeks later. This year has been a season of losses, and I have grieved greatly with a broken heart and a crushed spirit. My pain has been so great that at times I did not know how I would make it. Paul gives us a perspective of suffering that I think is helpful. And the fact that he was in prison at the time and writing to a suffering church makes these words even more valuable to us. And they're found in Philippians 1, verse 29. Listen to these words. He says this, "For to you it has been granted for Christ's sake, not only to believe in Him, but also to suffer for His sake." Here we see the idea of suffering as a gift. It's something that's been granted to us. I often think of the book written by Hannah Hurnard entitled Hinds Feet on High Places. Have you ever read that book? Well, it's about this creature named Much Afraid who answered the shepherd's call to go with him to the high places. He promised to give Much Afraid two special companions he had chosen to guide and help her on all the steep and difficult places while her feet were lame and she could only limp and go slowly. He said he had chosen them to be her guides, and they would be most able to help her and assist her, and she needed to allow them to be her helpers. Well, guess who the two companions were? Their names were Sorrow and Suffering. Now, when Much Afraid realized they were her companions, she cried out that she couldn't possibly go with them. She cried out to the shepherd, "How can I possibly go with them? It's more than I can bear." And she burst into tears. Have you ever felt like that? It's more than you can bear? Well, the shepherd responded that if she would just put her hand in theirs, they would take her exactly where he wanted her to go, and that they would do a mighty work in her. Now, this is an allegory, but friend, I wonder if it touches your heart today to realize that suffering is not for nothing, and that there is a view of it as a gift in light of its value. For one thing, you share in the sufferings of Christ, and you are suffering for His sake. In other words, your service in Christ gives purpose to your suffering. It's for the Lord. You may not see or understand it all, but you will when you see Him face to face. And then, suffering produces something powerful in your life. In 1 Peter 1:7, we see that it is a proof of your faith and that it will result in praise and honor and glory at the revelation of Christ. And in 1 Peter 5:10, we see that in our suffering that lasts only a little while, the Lord Himself, the God of grace, will perfect, confirm, strengthen, and establish us. So, dear friend, the next time you are faced with a time of suffering, remember Paul's perspective, and it will help you look on the bright side of a dark time. Lord, thank you that you are producing something mighty in our times of suffering. Help us to look to the reward and realize that it is only for a little while in light of eternity, and that you will indeed perfect, confirm, strengthen, and establish us. And that's my quiet time for this week. God bless you as you continue on in the great adventure of knowing Him.